joining us right now. GOP political strategist, also co-founder, mustreadtexas.com. Matt Mackowiak. Matt, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Chad. I'm doing great. Good morning.
Appreciate you coming on today. Let's start at the Texas legislature level of political news. And Friday was the final day that bills could be filed down in Austin. I think I read over 6,000 bills have been filed. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, this always happens at the end. There's always a kind of a crush the last day to get everything filed. It's kind of a mystery to me as to why, 60 days into a 140-day session, we're still having bills filed. But, you have a number of freshman members and new chairmen this session, both from the House and Senate. So I think there's probably been a little bit of a learning curve. And, in fact, the number of bills and actually the pace of the legislative session has been a little bit slow, I think, as it's gotten started. But it's now starting to ramp up. Yeah,
it is. And it'll be interesting to see some of the debate that'll be held down there. Matt, with some of the bills that you've heard about and some of the debate that's already happened down there, whether it be local control versus liberty versus spending caps, and whether or not we should redefine spending caps, what are some of the more interesting debates that are starting to heat up that you've really been noticing?
Yeah, I think broadly speaking, there's obviously a difference of opinion between the House and the Senate on a lot of things. That's really the dynamic, I think, to watch going forward. You're going to see the Senate pass open carry, I think, certainly pass campus carry, potentially pass school choice, pass tighter spending caps, pass, pretty large tax cut. And, whether those things can get through the House or not, I think is really an open question. And I think you're really likely to see the Senate start acting quickly on a lot of these items. To date, the only major item that's passed was the transportation funding plan, which I think has passed both the House and Senate, and which Abbott I think has already signed. But that's it, and so there's a lot still to do. I think there is going to be a fight over the tax cuts, over the specifics of the plans. But some of these other issues, like the Second Amendment issues and school choice, I think still, are out there. But there are other things too. There's, as you said, this local control issue where you have all these cities passing ordinances, whether it's plastic bag bans or fracking bans or, penalties on or restrictions on payday lending or lots of other things that, all those industries want to try to pass statewide preemption, so that the state can have one plan rather than every city having its own. And there will be winners and losers in that, and that'll be something to watch as well.
Where do you think you draw the line, or where do you think Republicans want to draw the line when it comes to local control and when the state can come in and say, you can't do that? Different cities across the state have smoking bans that are out there, but the state of Texas hasn't banned smoking. It's been, year after, or legislative session after session, we've seen a statewide smoking ban pop up, but it keeps getting knocked down. Texting bans pop up in the legislative session, but those get knocked down, but you see cities pass those. Do you know where Republicans are trying to draw the line here?
I really don't, Chad. It is a really tricky thing because, once you sort of open that Pandora's box about overriding, local control with a state policy, where does it end? And, I think it's probably somewhat likely that statewide preemption on fracking will happen because the impact of the state, if we start locking up our resources in different areas, is significant. The financial impact, not just to the state, but also to the municipality, to the citizens of that municipality. So I think you might see that happen, and perhaps that's a resource that all the people share. It's not a resource that a city has. It's a resource that all the people of Texas share. Mm-hmm. And since the numbers are just so significant, I think that probably rises to a different level. But yeah, when you talk about texting or smoking or something like that, it's a great question. I don't know that the so-called Republican Party has a kind of a cohesive view. I think they're kind of handling this on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this debate starts and ends down in Austin. Matt, let's take a look at 2016 and the news. Basically, that I see every day is Jeb Bush is still the front runner, but you don't hear anyone real excited about Jeb Bush, and you don't see that many positive articles about Jeb Bush. Yet it seems like the past few days you've seen a lot of great news about Scott Walker and a lot of great news from Marco Rubio as well.
Yeah, I think, as you said, Jeb is the front runner, but I don't think he's a strong front runner right now. I think he will have overwhelming financial resources, perhaps as much as $100 million here, to report in the next couple of months, and that's going to be a jarring figure. But he's been very focused on fundraising, and he hasn't really done that much political travel. He did go to Iowa for the first time in 15 years last week, and then he was in New Hampshire this past weekend for his first trip. But he's really been much more focused on fundraising. Walker and Rubio, as you said, I think are definitely rising, particularly Walker, who's really been riding a wave for the last 6 weeks or so, and is now in a fairly strong position, particularly in Iowa, but also in a lot of other states. And I think, look, he's had a great 2 months. The other candidates are going to have a great, ride a wave at one time or another. There's been a lot of predictions about Rubio being in that sort of on deck circle right now. That kind of remains to be seen. Well, we are about to enter, though, Chad, into the sort of announcement season. I think after April 1st, I think you are likely to see Rand Paul announce, Ted Cruz announce, perhaps Rubio announce. So the campaign is going to ramp up pretty quickly because, once you get into, late August or early September, that's when you start having the debates and the schedule starts becoming a lot more full. And so you really only have 3 or 4 months to sort of raise money unimpeded to try to compete with Jeb Bush financially.
Visiting with Matt Mackowiak, GOP political strategist, co-founder of MustReadTexas.com. When you look at Hillary Clinton and the operation behind Hillary Clinton, it still seems as though she's going to run, but there are all these hiccups. And the latest one, of course, being the email scandal. And, we haven't even really talked about Benghazi and some of her other foreign policy missteps as Secretary of State. How do you view this campaign for Hillary going? And, is she going to face some competition within the Democratic Party?
Yeah, it's amazing to me that no one stepped up, particularly in the past 2 weeks as she's just muddled along with this explanation on the email controversy. It looks like Martin O'Malley will run, but Martin O'Malley is pretty close with the Clintons, and he refused to go after her on the email issue. That seems to me to be kind of a vice president play. Some of the other names like Bernie Sanders and Jim Webb, I just don't think are serious. So, I agree with you. I think Hillary does have some issues, and she's likely to announce in April as well. And she's apparently putting her campaign headquarters in trendy Brooklyn. I think that some of those issues are going to start coming up in April, and she's going to have to start defending herself on the Russian reset, on the foreign donations the Clinton Foundation has taken. She's going to have to more fully answer a lot of these questions about the email controversy. So she's going to have to testify. I mean, Benghazi Select Committee said they're going to call her at least twice. And I think there's going to be a wider inquiry probably into her use of this private email server and what that meant for security and other issues. So, look, I don't think she's likely to have a great couple months here while she launches her campaign, but she is going to start raising money.
Very interesting. Matt Mackowiak, GOP political strategist, co-founder of MustReadTexas.com. You're in the heart of South by Southwest, but what can people find on MustReadTexas.com today?
Yeah, a lot of news from over the weekend on 2016. You had Perry and Cruz both in New Hampshire over the weekend, and so there's some news there. And Rand Paul was here in Austin at the South by Southwest conference. So a lot of that news is there, and a lot of news about the legislature at MustReadTexas.com.
All right, follow Matt Mackowiak on Twitter as well, at Matt Mackowiak. Matt, as always, appreciate your time.
Thanks, Chad. Have a great week.
You too. That's Matt Mackowiak. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Mackowiak.